Hello, dear friend, and welcome. I've rolled up my right sleeve because at the end of this presentation, I'm going to perform one magic trick for you. But until then, I must be very truthful with you because of what's at stake for our teachers, America's teachers, and our children. I'm struggling to understand what it is that you don't understand about something so simple that we should be able to understand. I've always liked the word understand, and I'm here to share with you the root of that understanding. So in K-12 public education, the weight that is upon our teachers and our children. As you can see, these weights of memorization are not grounded, they're floating. That weight is not grounded, not understood. The reality is, we can understand and root the method for memorizing, which is the same method, one method for creating. So, out of my favorite authors is the famous quote, "I can see farther because I stand on the shoulders of giants." The first giant, W. Edwards Deming, 3 books by Mr. Deming. America's guru, I call him, of business management. Only the method matters. 93 years to help Americans to understand. Everybody's trying their best, everybody's working very hard, everybody wants to succeed, but by what method? My second favorite author, Mr. Robert Fritz, on creating. 6 books by Mr. Robert Fritz on a method for creating. My next favorite author, Mr. Harry Lorraine. I believe I have 5 of Harry's books. I think he has more than that. I'm quite sure he does. So we have a total of 14 books. A methodology, one method for both memorizing and creating. Together, 5 principles that make up this one method for memorizing and creating. The weight that is upon our teachers and our children, the weight that they must carry daily because of unknown that they don't know, unconscious incompetence. They don't know that they can learn a method for memorizing. So in my early days, I was a weightlifter. I'm very familiar with the weights. 6 days a week, I won't say the year, but when I was in my prime, 2nd place for Mr. Rock County. And shortly after, 2nd place for Mr. Wisconsin for weightlifting, for bodybuilding. So I understand what it takes to lift the weights, The weight that is upon our teachers and our children, we can begin to immediate shift if you participate. If you, from the comfort and convenience of your own cell phone or home, like, comment, share. We can shift America, shift teachers, parents, adults, children, teenagers, presidents, governors, superintendents of education, school board members, principals, vice principals, teachers, parents, teenagers, children, from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. Oh, I can now choose to learn how to memorize, or I can choose not to. At least they need to know the choice. Right now, all of Americans, as far as I can check, I still need to confirm, 350 years of public education, not one child, not one class for a proven, dependable, repeatable method for memorizing. If you've not heard me speak before, from what I've discovered, it was 1956 where we started mandating testing. Until then, we're just kind of, doing our best. Hopefully everybody's hanging on to the information. 1956, the hammer came down. The weight came down. Now, we're going to grade children. Now, that grading is going to categorize children. A through F. Now, that weight became part of public education for the teachers and the students. So way back in 1956, like that little frog dropped into the cold kettle of water, our teachers and students were dropped into that cold kettle of water. No one ever said, oh, by the way, if we're going to test our children on their ability to memorize and remember, what method have we taught them? So W. Edwards Deming, only the method matters. Robert Fritz, teaching a method for creating. What Russell's saying is the same method that Harry Lorraine teaches for memorizing. So the burden can greatly be reduced. It'll never be totally reduced because we've all grown up with rote memory. So each day we naturally default to rote memory. Each day, very likely, we naturally default to problem solving. By investing into these, learning, practicing, proofing, memorizing, and creating, versus rote memory and problem solving. Impossible to build upon rote memory. Virtually impossible to build upon problem solving, trying to get rid of something. There's much more in Robert Fritz's book about that and why. Wait a minute. You haven't picked up one of Robert's books? Path of Least Resistance. Let's see. Creating. Corporate Tides. Path of Least Resistance for Managers. Corporate Tides, the Inescapable Laws of Organizational Structure. I love that subtitle. The Path of Least Resistance for Managers. My favorite book, Your Life is Art. The Managerial Moment of Truth. Elements by Robert Fritz. A new book I haven't been able to find, I still need to read, Identity by Robert Fritz, and can't quite think of the other author's name. Harry Lorraine, Super Memory, Super Student, really does say it all. So the weight that is upon teachers and students, children, teenagers, adults, we can begin to lift by shifting from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. Oh, there's tools I can use to memorize. So now the magic trick. Yes, when I was young I took magic. I can't quite think, I'm guessing Harry Blackstone, but that's kind of a guess, in Janesville, Wisconsin. So yes, I do understand the sleight of hand. Okay, so anyways. Remember, I haven't practiced much. Out of thin air, Harry Lorraine, The Magic Book by Harry Lorraine. Harry Lorraine first started out, quote unquote, as a magician. But he did not want people to know that initially, because he did not want people to think that memorizing is magic. It's not really magic, it's critical thinking skills. So, what we need to bring into our public education, this is actually rooted, so it should really go here. Critical thinking skills. Where do we begin for critical thinking skills? 2 relative points. Up, down, father, mother, yin, yang, alpha and omega, left, right. The weight. I hope you see and notice the weight versus the second point, what we can do to lift that burden off the backs of teachers and off the backs of students. The 2 relative points. If we continue down the path we're on, that weight will be there every day, every week, every month, every year, every school day upon Americans, upon our teachers and children. If we begin to shed the illumination, the understanding, every day, every week, every month, every year, the burden will become lighter. So that's our choice. Which do you choose? To continue to let our children and teachers struggle and suffer unknowingly, unintentionally? Or do we choose to, like comment, share, and pick up a book. Share with Russell. Hey, thanks for letting me know, Russell. I, too, was in that unconscious incompetence. I'm now realizing that I, as an adult, or a teenager, or a child, need to pick up that drop stitch, learn correctly what I've been struggling on my own to do, pick up those tools, and oh, thank you, because as adults, we really don't, quote, need to memorize as much as we did during school. But thank you for letting me know it's the same method for creating. So please, like, comment, and share, especially with those who are in school. And please email me, russell@createk12change.org or russell@createwhatmatters.com. Let me know if you've chosen to pick up a book. I'd rather lift that weight than lift those weights. Thank you for participating.